You are listening to the Vichaar Manthan Podcast.
Namaste and welcome to another episode of the Vichaar Manthan Podcast. I am your host Sumit Sharma and it is my great honor to be hosting this project for you, a Vichaar Manthan project looking to explore modern day issues, challenges, society and understand them through a dharmic lens, through a civilizational lens. Through in-depth interviews with some of the best thinkers of our time, this podcast explores how we can better understand Dharma, better understand our lives, and recapture the ancient and classical ideals of sustainability, liberty, and flourishing. Please do tune in for an earnest conversation. I would love to hear from you if you want to email in. And you can find this podcast on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, and YouTube. Very honored today to have Devdutt Ji Sharma onto the podcast here today. He's tuning in live from India. He's in the south of India at the moment. He currently works in the Ministry of Defence of India as an officer. And I think we're going to uncover a little bit more about his life as we get into this podcast. So, Devdutt Ji, namaste and welcome to the podcast.
So thank you so much for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have us. So, Devdutt Ji, I've been following you online and especially on Strava. And the first thing I want to call out is that your 10K PR is my 5K PR.
Okay. Actually, my 10K PR is 35 minutes.
Well, I mean, there you go. That's just about what I'm managing a 5K in at the moment. So you literally are running at double my speed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, it's excellent to hear. So when I was speaking to Devdutt Ji earlier on, he gave me a few words about who he is. And you've written here that you're a triathlete, ultramarathon runner, combat diver, yoga practitioner, and a poet. So I want to explore each of these with you in a little bit more detail. But just before we get into that, let's go back in time. Where does Dev G first begin? How does a young Dev get into the Ministry of Defence?
Oh, first of all, if you see the meaning of Devdutt, it means given by God. So I took birth after a marriage of 4 years. My father and my mother and my father, they were married in 1990s, and I took birth after 5 years. Okay, so for them it is like Devdatta only because they work hard for 5 years, and then I took birth, and I belongs to Haryana, from villages, from where I did my initial studies, and in my family, my all three uncles are in army. So I have seen the life of army, the cantonmental areas. So I was much oriented towards the armed forces. And after doing my engineering, I joined Indian Navy as an officer.
And what does it mean to you to be serving your country as a serviceman, as someone in the Navy and in the armed forces?
It is a different kind of feeling when you used to go on leaves to your home, and the respect which people give. And when you interact with the youngsters, they take you as a source of motivation that you are sacrificing your family, your friends, and doing everything for the country. So it's kind of different, different feeling.
It's interesting. You say, do you feel like you've sacrificed something? Have you given up having friendships?
You see, when I was doing my studies, you said initial studies till 10th class, and if you say in my engineering. So the friends which I had in those times, so though I am hardly in touch with those friends, the time which I spent with the friends in the training or military training, so they are my a lifetime friends. Okay, so if you see, I'm unmarried right now, and that's my 7th year running the service, and in a year I used to get around 30 days of leave. So my family is not with me. So if you say in that perspective, I have sacrificed my family life, and also the friends which I had in my childhood and in my studies time in college and the school.
Yeah, it's an admirable thing to dedicate your life towards the service of your country, and for you as well doing that in India. And so, does the younger generation look to that? Is that something they want to do? Because India is a very young country at the moment. There's a lot of youth there. Are people still wanting to join the army and the navy and the forces?
Yeah, if you visit the villages of India, people are very much fascinated to join Indian armed forces because if you take an example of our wars, 1962, 1974, 1971 war, 1965 Kargil war. So all the people who has done their life, sacrificed their life, most of the people from villages. So if you go to the villages, you will get at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. So people, the youngsters, they were preparing for the recruitment rallies from the Army, Air Force, and Navy, and running, starting, they are running, starting and they're running 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and just people are very much enthusiastic in the villages still now.
That's amazing to hear.
Because if I go and leave for around 30 days, 35 days, so most of my time I used to spend with the youngsters to motivate them, to guide them to join Indian Armed Forces or whatever profession they want to choose in the future.
And so waking up 4 or 5 a.m. It's no easy feat. How do you maintain that discipline? I mean, has that come from childhood, from birth, or is that something you've learned through working in the Navy, or where does that come from?
See, when I was in fifth standard, in fifth class, I lost my father. Okay, so I seen the life of struggle, and my mother used to work very hard in the fields, and we used to have animals. We used to sell milk and all these things. And when I passed my 10th class, okay, so only thing which was in my head was I want to join in armed forces, whether it's Army, Navy, and Air Force. Okay, whatever comes first, I'll go in that service. So when I was doing my engineering, so there's a 4-year course, and when I was doing my engineering, I was a boarding student. So in the 4 years of duration, I hardly came 3 to 4 times in my home. My mother used to say, "You be there in the college. If you'll not do something, you have to come to home only." So that was the motivation, and I know because if I'll not follow discipline at this age, as the age of 2024, I had to face a lot of difficulties when I'll cross the age of 30 years. So I thought this is the only way, and only thing which I would like to tell to the listeners that of the people who are of 20, 24 years of age, if you not follow discipline at this age, you are going to face a lot of difficulties.
Wow.
And when it's like when you start doing something, you'll have that kind of feeling. Yes, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling light. Now my life is very happy. So in this way, I started getting 4 o'clock in the morning. Then yoga. Every 24 hours, every minute is counted. Okay, so there is no time that I have to go somewhere to pass time with the friends. No, it's not like that. Every minute goes counted. I should get up 4 o'clock in the morning. Then 4:30 to 5:30, I'll go for running. Then 5:30 to 6:30 yoga. I'll come back. I'll take bath. Okay, then I'll go for my breakfast. And 1 hour of study, I'll go to my college. If any lesson is free, I'll go to library. I'll spend time in the library. Every minute was counted. So if you live the life in that way, so you'll enjoy your life.
Excellent. That's some great wisdom that you're sharing with us here today. And I'm certainly inspired by getting up early, doing a run, doing some yoga. And the key point there about being disciplined, and I think you said it, that if you don't cultivate discipline in your life, at least in your early 20s, then the rest of your life will be much more challenging. But I don't know about the world. If the youth of today, I say that like I'm old, the youth of today have discipline within them. Has life become easier for people? Are we too engrossed in technology and like you said, doing things for time pass? So could you tell me what's your understanding of building that capability? How does one build skill and character? And how has your experience of the Indian military impacted your worldview?
So first of all, you have to visualize, where you want to see yourself after 5 years. If you take an example of this younger generation, and if you pick up 20 guys or 100 guys, and if you see their own screen time, that will be more than 10 hours. It's a huge disaster. What they're learning, they are wasting 10 hours of this precious time that they have to understand. If I know from past 7 years, not 7 years, from past 10 years, I know what I want to do in my life. Whatever I have visualized, I have attained everything. For next 5 years, I have planned everything. I have planned in next 5 years what I will do.
Wow.
And everything is following the same way. There is no deviations at all. There's no single deviation. Okay, everything is going in a straight line. If I talk about straight line, if you do something in your life, your focus should be like laser light. If your focus is like laser light, there will be no deviations. And your horizon of learning should be like, it should be, like the sun gives rays in all directions. So your horizon of learning should be, very, expanded. Whatever knowledge you gain, whatever information you get, you should be able to accept everything. If it is useful to you, accept it. Then just ignore it. And if I speak about my military life, I don't feel any different kind of change in the military life, because when I was doing my engineering in 2012 and I joined in the Navy in 2016, so I used to follow discipline 4 years back, 4 years before I started following the discipline. So it was like a regular activity for me, right? So there is no, people generally, have difficulties like I'm doing military training, I'm going to face a lot of issues. I'm overweight. They will tell me to reduce weight because your weight is more than the acceptable limits. So because when I was doing my military training, I gained 4 kg weight. My instructor told me, how this guy is gaining weight? So I told the training which is you are giving me, I should do much more tough training when I was doing my engineering. So after that, I did my combat diving course, mountaineering course. So it's like this chain of activities. When you follow discipline, everything will be there in steps. So there is no need to look behind, and there is no need to learn something from others. It's your life. You have to decide what things you want to do in your life. You just pick and go ahead. Now, see, in last 3 months, I did 82 consecutive full marathons. Okay, so my
Yeah,
plan
I
was
saw I saw that on
to
Strava. So
yeah, to do 150, but due to some issues, I need to stop at it too, because I had fever on the day. But on last marathon, 82nd marathon, I ran in fever also. I had 103 fever. I completed 82nd marathon in fever only,
wow. So let's
thinking
just
that
talk
fever
about
will
that.
go.
Let's talk about that for a
Yeah,
second. So you set yourself a challenge to run something like 100 marathons in 100 days. And so you said you
yeah,
managed to do 82. And so that's a
yeah,
full marathon every day,
yeah,
82 days in a
yeah,
row.
yeah.
That is amazing. And I think you even picked up some world records, Guinness Book of Records and
Yes, a
Inca
Guinness
Book
Book
of
of World
Records.
Records. Yeah, yeah. And next 15 20 days I'm going to get a certificate from Guinness Book of World Record. I just
Oh,
got
excellent.
confirmation from them.
Very nice.
Yeah,
And that's very admirable. And I mean, I've only ever run 5Ks and I've touched a couple of 10Ks, and I'm preparing for a longer marathon as such. But you also ran 100 half marathons on the helipad of your warship whilst you were out at
yeah,
sea
yeah,
in the Navy.
yeah, yeah.
And I think you were the only uniform person in the world to do that.
Right, right.
Wow, that's very admirable. What gives you that motivation? Like, you've talked about discipline, you've talked about seeing struggle growing up, you've talked about how you're invested in that. But where does that where does that energy come from? How do you cultivate that?
Yeah. See, I'll go back to the history behind, 15, 20 years back, when we were in fourth, fifth standard. It means in ninth, we were 9 or 10 year old.
Right.
So we were around 20 childrens in our street, and every day we used to get up early in the morning, 4:35, and everybody used to wake up each other. And by 5:30 we used to start our run in villages. We used to go to fields. Okay, we used to run 4 or 5 kilometers. Then we'll sit somewhere. Okay, we'll collect some woods, and in the winters, and we used to enjoy. Okay, we used to pluck some sugar canes from the field, and then we used to share a company like that. So that's a habit from our childhood that we used to enjoy running. And when I came to my college was spread over 200 acres. So 2, 3 football fields were there, 2, 3 athletic tracks, and it was a good atmosphere. So I continued running from there also. And after my military training, I was posted on board a warship. And ship used to sail for around 30, 40 days continuous. And if you are a regular runner, where you will run, at sea where you will run. So
Mm,
helipad is the only open place where you can at least go for a walk, in the midnight or early morning. So I invented that place. So this is the best place to run. So I ran more than 100 half marathons on helipad of a ship. Running for around 2 hours, 3 hours continuous, and making loops of around one loop is 10 meters. So you calculate how many repetitions I used to do. So
Oh,
that was,
wow.
like a habit, like person who is used to smoking and drinking. He can't live without that. So it is like that only. It is a good, it is a good habit which people should pick up, like yoga and running. So it's like it's
Mm.
the way I continued in the Hellodeck also, because I was posted on board ships for continuous 4 to 5 years, and ship used to sail for 60 days or so. In COVID time, we went to 5 countries, and we were out for around 4 months. And I used to run on Hellodex, and it doesn't matter what is the time. Whenever I get time, I used to run. It might be midnight, early morning, night. Whenever I get time, I used to run.
Wow.
So it is like that.
Great inspiration there. And certainly you're committed to that cause. Tell me, has your physical training changed your understanding or your relationship with your dharma? And does any of this relate to, say Arjun in the Mahabharata? Do you have any visions or relations to a struggle of that kind? How does one prepare mentally? How do you
Yeah.
reconcile that?
See, when you are running for 3 hours, 4 hours or 5 hours continuously. Okay, so after 1 hour or around 45 minutes, the unnecessary thoughts which are running in your mind, those thoughts will stop. Okay, so you will
Okay.
try to know why I'm doing all these things. What is the reason behind it? When you try to think in that way, you will try to know yourself from inside. Okay,
Okay.
when you know from inside, because entire energy which is there, it is there in our subconscious mind, right? When you try to penetrate inside your subconscious, then you will experience a different kind of thought process, the different kind of energy. Okay, your thought process, if you want to take some decision, you are underconfident, because you don't know yourself completely, because you
Okay.
haven't spent time with yourself, because you haven't time spent with yourself, because you are used to technology, you are used to mobile phones, you are used to gadgets. Okay, you hardly spend time with yourself. Whenever there is a worry, whenever there is some issue, we generally try to approach others. What should be the solution? We never ask ourselves,
Mm.
because these are the situations imposed on ourselves, our situations, our circumstances. Who knows better than us? Okay, when you start spending time with yourself, you will know yourself from inside. Your thought process will be strong. You will have confidence on yourself. Whatever you will do, that will be a successful task. That thing I have learned in those 82 days specifically, because 82 days, 82 into 5. You see, these are the meditation time. Okay, running
Mm.
was like a meditation those days, because after 30, 40 minutes, those unnecessary thoughts will go away, and you will start thinking about yourself. Whenever I used to run around 3 hours, 4 hours, I used to plan my upcoming years in those time only,
Wow.
because at that point of time you are free from emotions,
Mm.
right? Your actual thoughts are going on. Your pure thoughts, your pure thought process is going on,
That's
right?
very interesting the way
Uh,
you relate the time you have with a meditative state. You're saying those thoughts
right.
disappear and you're really spending the time with yourself internally and for yourself, Devdutt Ji, you've talked about mapping out the future, mapping out your future
Yeah,
plans in this meditative state. And
yeah,
so could you offer some advice to someone who perhaps struggles with, I mean, going for a run is hard enough, I think, for a lot of people, and exercising. But what about people that do struggle with their thoughts, where they have too many
yeah,
thoughts, or they're not able to
yeah,
meditate or do yoga like yourself? Could you offer some
yeah.
advice?
See, yeah, yeah. First of all, you have to find out the ways and means to settle down your thoughts.
Mm.
Running is one of the way, because whenever you are doing any kind of activity where your thoughts, your unnecessary thought stops, maybe at 30, after 30 minutes, maybe after 40 minutes. Okay, so that thing will happen only when you are away from the technology. When you are having your mobile phone with you, it is not going to happen. Okay, you have to find out that place. That place might be near to beach. That place, might be near to animals.
Mm.
Okay, you have to find out that place. That place might be around 5 kilometers away from the environment you are staying, the vicinity you are staying.
Okay.
Okay, you have to find out that place. then only you will, keep yourself away from those unnecessary thoughts. You have to find out. Running for me is a place. Running for me, is the activity where I can meditate. Okay, some people used to meditate while sitting. Some people used to meditate while running. So everybody has a different, different this thing, different mechanism. You have to invent for yourself. First of all, you have to try. What is
Yeah.
happening right now is people are having those unnecessary thoughts with them. They're not trying to find out the ways. They are just giving excuses. These kind of things are happening with me, but they are not trying to find out the solution. Whenever when you will put your mind in a solution mode, okay, it will always give solutions.
Yeah.
Our tendency is we always give excuses. I'm unable to do these things. But have you ever tried to find out the reason behind it? If you try to find out the reason behind it, you'll obviously get solutions. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you
Okay,
make
you have
you
to
make
find
it
out.
you make it sound so simple. And I guess the solutions are simple if we think about it. We need to get out of our
See,
own way. We'll find excuses for ourselves
yeah,
continuously.
solutions. Yeah, solutions are with yourself because it is your life. These challenges are yours. These situations are yours. The circumstances are yours. Right. So solution will be yours only. Because if I'm having some
Right.
problem, okay, if I'm having some problem, I'll go to somebody else. That person will give
Mm.
logics depending upon the life he has spent, depending upon the circumstances he has lived, depending upon situations he has been through. But our circumstances, situations, everything is different. So that answer of the problem will be different, right?
No, I agree. I agree. You're definitely talking sense, and it's something I can relate to. And certainly, when I follow some of your material online, you talk a lot about motivation, discipline, and having the inspiration to do those things. Especially, I think, in your yoga practice.
Yeah.
So you refer to yourself as a yoga practitioner. Is that something that's come from childhood,
Yeah.
or something you've learned recently? And how does that relate to your physical and mental lifestyle?
See, when I was doing my engineering, so there was a yoga instructor. So I came in contact with that person, for around 2 months, and he used to give, good sermons and lessons like that. You have to follow brahmacharya, you have to follow celibacy, and from there I started, and my body was very flexible, from the childhood because I was a regular runner. So he
Mm.
told me these kind of asanas are there. Just try out, try doing these asanas if you're able to do it. So in 2 days I learned Shirshasana, and in 3-4 days I learned Mayurasana, and all those Hatha yoga, asanas are there. So I was able to do before this, long marathons. I was able to do around 80% of asanas, and because if you are doing yoga, asanas plus meditation, pranayams, okay, it actually helps you. If you are studying something, if you're reading something, so normal person will take 3-4 readings, and if you are into meditation, because your mind is at peace, it is no diverting here and there. So whatever
Mm.
you will read, you'll remember. So it actually helps.
And I think people know that. I think people know that if you spend time doing pranayams, breathing exercises, yoga, meditation, that you'll live a more fulfilled life. Your life will be more peaceful. You'll have more mental clarity and thought. I think I genuinely, at least I can talk about myself. I know that. Yet, I think a lot of people struggle to find the time to do that. Is that just because it's not a priority for them, or they've just not invested enough time in doing it?
See, first of all, if you lose something, till that time you'll not taste the taste of ice cream. You'll not able to tell it is good or bad. Okay, so it's like yoga. Also, you have to taste that. It will take time. It might be 10 days for somebody, 100 days for somebody else. You have to experience that feeling, and if you experience that feeling, the person, nobody is a smoker, nobody is a bone smoker, nobody is a bone drinker. Okay,
Mm.
it takes time. Okay, it takes time. He will take 10 days. He will take 15 days to experience that. After 15 drinks he will see, yeah, this is a good life. So in that same way you have to experience, the power, the energy of yoga, then only able to understand. You have to spend some time with this thing.
And spending
Because
that
if you
time.
see, yeah, because if you want to be an athlete, right, I'll give just simple. If you want to be a swimmer, right, and you are a weak swimmer, you went to swimming pool. Okay, and the first day you got 2-3 sips of water, and the next day you'll say, I'll never go to a swimming pool. Okay, so but if you know These are the starting, these are the starting hurdles. Okay, and
Mm.
after 10 years, 15, after 10 days, 15 days, or 1 month, he will be able to swim. He will be able to float at least. Okay, when he will do his first stroke, okay, how good he will feel. Understood? And when will be his first stroke, second, third, fourth, and so and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because you have to give some time. You have to give some time to understand this thing,
It's
right?
true. But this time you're talking about, I think people nowadays are looking for quick results, shortcuts,
Yeah.
life hacks.
Yes.
They want
Yes.
success, or they want the fruits of their labor immediately. But I think, Devdutt Ji, what you're saying here today on the Vichaar Manthan podcast is that you need patience, you need to have
Yeah.
virtue, you need to go through a little bit of struggle, have discipline in your life, and then you may start to see some results. But it's got to be an endurance.
Yeah.
I think.
So for the people who want quick success, overnight success, okay, and very eager to take shortcuts. So I would like to ask those people. You tell me anyone who got a overnight success, and how long he was able to sustain that. To take out any
Mm,
name, any people, and name of any person who is successful in their life. Out of those people, how many people have taken shortcuts?
mm.
It's better that you learn early all these things. Your life will be easy.
Fair enough. That's some great wisdom, and I want to discuss a lot of that with you in a lot more detail. But Devdutt Ji, what we're going to do, we're going to go into what I call the rapid fire round, where I'm going to ask you a quick set of questions, and if you give me back some quick answers,
Yeah,
so that we can learn a little bit
yeah,
more
yeah.
about you and your life. So, if you were stranded, this might be easy for you actually. If you were stranded on a deserted island and you could only take 3 items with you, what would they be and why?
3 items. One is water.
Sorry, say that
Okay,
again.
and third is GPS.
GPS
GPS
location.
device.
Okay.
And third is camel.
Okay,
Camel.
fine. Perfect.
Because
Perfect.
he's
Thank
going
you.
to
Okay.
help me to he's going to help me to uh, clear the desert.
Perfect. Perfect. So, Devdutt Ji, tell me, what's your perfect breakfast?
Okay, okay. My perfect breakfast is lot of fruits, mixed fruits. Okay, and peanut,
Okay.
and 2 slices of brown bread.
Very nice. You are a yogi after all, so of course it was going to be a healthy answer.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
It's a very difficult question. Okay, so the people who don't know what to do in their life, if I get that superpower, I could give them, I could say you could follow this path. Maximum people.
Wow, very
Because if you
inspirational.
see,
Not e-
if you see, if you see youngsters, because during this marathon time, 82 days, I have been to 100 plus schools, okay, colleges, and universities to give the guidance, whatever I learned in my childhood, whatever I have done in my life, just kind of an inspiring a license. I visited schools and colleges, and I have felt, because people want to achieve something, but they don't know what path is to be taken.
Mm,
Okay, if I get the superpower, I will try to pass this message to maximum youngsters, okay, so that they can take the right path, whatever they want to achieve in their life.
that's an amazing answer, and I think
Yeah,
shows the levels of selflessness that you
yeah,
bestow upon the world. Often, superpowers
yeah,
people think about themselves, but you want to give people or youngsters
exactly.
a direction in life. That is very inspirational. Thank you for sharing. There's actually, do you have a favorite book?
And autobiography of Swami Vivekananda.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah,
Why do you like Swami Vivekananda so much?
because if you see, for a youngster who have followed celibacy, have been a celibate for 3 to 4 years, he knows the actual power. Because when I was in my college time, and I used to follow celibacy, to the level which I can. And I used to be, the bold like that. It was my haircut when I was in my college time, And
It's a
if you
very
see
nice
when you are in
haircut.
college, yeah. And if you see you are in college time, you will try to impress girls and and other stuff because they have good hairstyle. Because when I stepped in my college, so I showed my head and I followed this thing for around 4 years. And if you go through the life of Swami Vivekananda, and you are going to learn a lot of things. Okay, so he had that kind of wisdom. You see, in 1892, he went to this thing, America. Okay, and
Parliament of World Religions in
a
Chicago.
Parliament of World Religion, and he gave a lecture over there, and entire world was mesmerized to listen whatever he was saying. Everybody was shocked. An Indian monk, Indian monk, he's giving these kind of sermons. Everybody was shocked. So, and in his, initial years, a very young age, so you can understand, can learn, the power of meditation, power of yoga. At what level he has reached, in the early stage of his life.
Mm.
Because if you see, he has, followed a celibacy, for a long time, and that energy was unable to, hold this body. Okay, so he has to leave this body, before 40 years of his age. He left this body. Understood? So you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
learn, if you go through his biography, there are a lot of things to learn. How he enjoyed his childhood, how much passionate he was towards his guru, Swami Ramakrishna Brahmans, and he did everything whatever his guru has told him to do when he leaves his body, and he has followed the path of his guru.
Very
It's a
inspirational.
selfless service,
I've actually
selfless service, which I have learned in my life is from his biography only.
very nice. So encouraging all our listeners and what people watching this at home to take up Swami Vivekananda's book. And in fact,
Yeah,
Devdutt Ji, I
yeah,
think you make a very notable point there about celibacy, and I think the youth of today perhaps could learn something about that. And of course, you have this energy within you, and you, like you're saying, when you go to college and you want to impress, the girls and everything, and how actually a life of discipline, a life of celibacy for a certain amount of time will give you so much energy internally, even physically, mentally, spiritually, to harness great things within your life. And actually, Devdutt Ji, I've actually been to Chicago and I've stood on the stage where Swami Vivekananda Ji would have given his speech. It's now the Fullerton Hall at the Art Institute of Chicago. So I was very fortunate to go and visit that. So I take great inspiration from Swami Vivekananda Ji as well. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Can you tell
So one
me a
more,
moment in your
uh, one more instance I would like to share about celibacy. It was around 1.5 year, and it was in winters. In North India, you say temperature goes to 2 degrees, 3 degrees Celsius if you are somewhere near Rajasthan. Okay, so my college was on the boundary of Haryana and Rajasthan, and temperature used to drop to minimum 1 degree, 1 degree centigrade. So it was around 5:30 in the morning, and I was in my uh, undergarments. Okay, and I was doing yoga over there. Okay, there were 3, 4 people who were working, or somebody was cutting the grass, somebody was doing the grooming, and 2, 3 security guards, they were, wrapping a blanket over them, and they were looking at me, see how cold is the weather, and these guys, sitting without clothes. And I have realized that energy because the person who is wrapping 2, 3 blankets, and I'm sitting without clothes, only minimum clothes which I required, and I was doing yoga. That energy I have experienced after following celibacy for around 1.5 years.
Wow, that's a very, very personal point. I don't think the world is ready to understand that, but certainly there's great wisdom in what you're talking about. And I encourage at least all of our younger listeners who are experiencing life and being perhaps frivolous to think about this in a lot of detail. There's a lot of wisdom in retaining that energy within you. And perhaps it's something I wish I had known a lot earlier on in life. So Devdutt Ji, thank you for sharing that. And I think there's an entire podcast episode on this very topic that should be brewing in the background. So
Yeah. One more thing I would like to share. I would like to share to the listeners. We should read books. Okay, so see, right now I'm sitting. I'm having 3, 4 books with me. Wherever I used to travel, whenever I used to go outside, I keep books with me because if you take an example of yourself, Sumit Sharma, Okay, if you'll start writing book. Okay, your age is around 50 years. Okay, if you'll start writing something, you will put everything in the books, whatever you learned in 50 years.
Mm.
Okay, so if somebody who has written a book and you are able to read that book, it depends what kind of book it is, fiction, non-fiction. It doesn't matter, because a person who is writing a book, he has shared experience of 30, 40 years in those 300 pages.
Mm.
Okay, so you are going ahead in life. Whatever mistakes he has done in his life. Okay, if you go through these books, you are not going to repeat. Okay, so you are going ahead 30 years, right? And if you read 5 books, 6 books, 500 books, you see how much ahead you will be in life, how much mature you will be, how much what kind of thought process you will build up after reading the books.
No, definitely. I definitely agree with that. You are very right. Let's do a couple more questions. Just and I think you've given lots of great advice and wisdom here. But what's the best piece of advice someone has given you that's helped you in your life?
To be happy, whatever may be the circumstances. Okay, if
Happy.
you achieve something in life, you should not be too much excited. If you lose something, your friend, I lost my father. If you lose some, if because we are in military, okay, it happens multiple times. That person who has served with me is no more.
Mm.
Okay, he got a blood. Okay, whenever you achieve something big in life, don't be too much excited. If you lose something in life, you should be neutral. Okay, that is the piece of advice which I got from my guru, who teaches, taught me yoga for this 2, 3 months. You should be neutral. Okay,
Mm.
neutral means you are happy, because situations are not distracting you.
Very good. Life will continuously change around you, and it's important to
Yeah,
remain
yeah. You
balanced.
just have to flow. Okay, you just have to flow. If you
Travel,
are here for 8 years, just go with the flow.
go with the flow. Very good. Do you have a favorite quote?
Discipline, discipline, discipline. You can achieve anything.
Very good. Very good. And I'm certainly inspired.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
So Devdutt Ji, you're a man of great inspiration, but I offer my guests an opportunity to make a commitment on the podcast so that all our listeners at home can hear that. I very much doubt you'll have something like this, but we'll ask you anyway. Is there something in your life that you are not doing and you want to do, or there's something that you'd like to commit to, or there's something you'd like to inspire our listeners to? Is there something you want to commit to?
Till now, there is nothing which I'm missing. Okay,
I
whatever
thought
I
so,
have
yeah.
planned, everything is going with the plan. Okay, so yeah, there are 2, 3 things which I would like to do in my life. Skydiving is one thing, and 2, 3 peaks
Okay.
of more than 8,000 meters I would like to climb in
Wow.
the upcoming years.
So
And
I've done skydiving.
okay, so probably you'll help me out.
I
Okay,
yeah, I did a
to find
skydive,
out the
and it's
best
actually
information in the
interesting
world.
that, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I
So
don't want to do one
I did a
skydive. I don't do
skydive.
one. I don't want to. I want to do multiple skydives, not single. Because single will be very,
Okay.
kind of
Of
frightening.
course.
Okay. So you should be. My purpose of doing something is whatever you do, you should be comfortable. Okay. If you do one skydive, you will not be comfortable. Okay. So if you see about the diving, I'll give you an example of diving. So it is around 2.5 months of rigorous, training in the diving school in somewhere down south in India. So every day we used to jump from 15 meters. Okay, then we used to swim for around 3 to 4 kilometers, and every jump was a different jump. Okay, every jump used to be a different jump. So they used to make a jump for around 40, 50 jumps till the time they are comfortable, because it might happen that you are sailing New Ganga or somewhere in Indian Ocean, and it might happen that you might have to jump from the topmost part of the ship into the sea. So that time, that fear factor should not be there in your head. And you have to jump from helicopters multiple times for rescue operations, right? So that fear of factor they used to take out from you, and because you'll do things in repetition. So if I'll do skydive, I'll not do one. I'll do at least 10, 15 skydives.
Excellent. And great point you actually make there. So there I was thinking, yeah, I've done a skydive, I've jumped out of a plane and I
Yeah.
did it in Dubai. But it was exhilarating, but it was also awful. Like I managed to do the skydive, but when I got back down to earth, adrenaline was rushing through me. I felt sick, I felt nauseous. I wasn't ready for it. And the point you're making is you don't just want to do one, you want to flood yourself that you can do skydives whenever you need to do a skydive.
Reason being, because if you'll do skydive single time, if somebody will ask you how was the dive, okay, you will tell about fears. Okay, you will never be comfortable. You will never be able to tell comfortable how comfortable dive was. It will be going to happen after multiple repetitions. Because one dive will not give you a good experience. The first dive is already a bad experience, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was.
It may be a skydive. It might be sea dive.
Yeah. Okay.
If you do things multiple times, then only you will be able to tell others. Then you'll be able to share your experiences with them. That's what I used to pay.
Very
if you
nice.
want to do something, do it multiple times.
Very good. Last question I'm going to ask you in this rapid fire round, although we've been talking at length. What does the term sustainability mean to you?
Slow growth. Right. So I'll just give an example because if you see, I'll give an example with 82 marathon. Okay. So I haven't practiced too much for these 82 marathons, and I prepared the entire plan. Initially, it was for 35 days, distance of 1,500 kilometers. And before that, I hardly ran 3-4 full marathons.
Wow.
Okay. And I hardly trained for that. Only thing which was building in the head. Okay. When I do the route survey of the 1,500 kilometers, 35 marathons in North India. So every day I used to run around 10-15 kilometers. But one thing was in my mind that, after, 15 days, I have to run 42 kilometers every day.
Okay.
Right. So if I speak about the preparation for 1,500 kilometers, I have never ran a full marathons during the preparation time. It was only 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometer maximum. It was a slow growth. Okay. If you see, my first target was 35 marathons, then it became 50, then it became 75, then it became 100.
Right.
Okay. It is slow growth. Okay. So, sustainability means, slow growth for me, slow growth. You learn slowly, stronger you will be.
Excellent. And I want to add one more question onto the end of this. What does Dharma mean to you?
Dharma means whatever you do, that should be selfless. Okay. Yeah. If you do something where selfish factor is there. Okay. If you want to earn money, if you're earning money, or earning anything, not about money, earning knowledge, earning information, earning money, whatever it is. If you are learning, if you're doing in the right way, doing something in right way is the dharma. Whatever you do it in right way. That is dharma, according to me.
Very nice. Thank you, Devdutt Ji, for sharing pearls of wisdom here on the Vichaar Manthan podcast. I think we've learned certainly lots. So we'll end the rapid fire round there. Let's get back into the rest of the episode. So, Devdutt Ji, if you think about the Indian lifestyle, very rich food, having ghee and lots of sabjis, and I mean, I'm talking about myself here, parante and rich food, and even the data shows this, that generally the Indian lifestyle, maybe here more so in the West, is not great to health. There's probably a lack of exercise, a lot of rich food. So how do we get people to have a better relationship with exercising, to go through the struggle and the physical hardship? How do we motivate people to actually overcome these challenges?
See, like I'm an Indian, I'm very lucky because you see, if you go to South India, okay, leave the place where I'm in Ooty right now. Okay, the temperature is around 12 degrees Celsius. We'll go to the other parts of the country, the temperature will be different. Okay, it will go to north, it will be a bit more cold. Okay, so I'm lucky that I used to enjoy all kind of climates. Okay, the first thing is that. Second thing is the person who is having a lot of milk, a lot of ghee. Now he's having 2-3 cows in the fellows. And if you see, if you take an example of North India, people are much cautious about their health, right?
Okay.
So it's the only if you see the generation which has taken birth after 2000. Okay, the people who are around 2022 right now. Okay, those people are very exposed to the technology, exposed to the smartphones, exposed to laptops, iPads. Okay, the first thing is they have to prioritize.
Okay.
First thing they have to prioritize. No, whatever happens in my life, whatever. If any marriage is there, of any some friends, and relatives, okay, I'll go to that place in the morning. Okay, I'll enjoy and the entire night. In the morning, I'll get up at 4 o'clock. I'll come from that place. If that place is 50 kilometers away, I'll come running from that place. You have to prioritize. Till the time you not prioritize, you're not going to achieve whatever it is. Because if you see, if your own screen time on the mobile phone is 10 hours, it means you have given priority to this technology. Every day, whenever you're going to bed, you have to do the self audit. Self audit means in 24 hours, what have you done? Have you done something which is enhancing your skills, enhancing your capabilities, or you just have wasted your time? Okay, so we do calculation of money every day, how much money I have spent, but we never do calculation of time. How much time I have spent somewhere, how much time I've invested in something. So if you'll do self audit every day, you will always prioritize the things.
Excellent. It's great actually, and
Yeah.
you're right. There's apps now on your phone that can tell you how many hours of screen time you have.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think I'll be following that advice for sure. Do an audit of time.
Yeah. So right now I'm having 10 athletes with me. So they will do hill training over here. Okay. So in military training in the academy, they are not issued with the smartphones. Okay. When they are going out for some training and for some championship, they are issued with their mobile phones. So every day I used to check their mobile phones.
Okay.
If their screen time more than 1.5 hours, I is allowed you can use your smartphone only for 1.5 hours. If your screen time is more than 1.5 hours, I'll submit your phones.
Wow.
Because every day, the morning and evening, they are going through rigorous exercise. Recovery is required. Okay, if you'll not do proper recovery, you'll not follow proper diet, you'll not be proper hydrated. On the final day, on the D day when championship will start, you're not able to perform, optimal level. That I used to ensure every day. And before that, I used to ensure for myself, is my screen time going more than 2 hours? Only then I'll be able to check.
That's true.
Okay.
We need.
If you are checking somebody, first you should be right. Then only you'll be able to check.
Practice what you preach.
I'll share one small story. Okay, there was a monk, and one lady came to him, and he told, my son used to eat a lot of sugar. Okay, so that monk told, come after 15 days. Okay, she was surprised why he's saying come after 15 days. What is so technical in that? So that lady went to that monk, and after 15 days, that monk told her, come after 5 days. She was pissed off, why he's calling me again and again. Okay, so that lady went after 5 days. Then that monk told, you should not eat sugar. In those initial 20 days, I used to have a lot of sugar. If I'm having sugar, how can I give guidance to somebody else to leave sugar? First of all, in 20 days, I left sugar. I'm not having right now. So then only I'll be able to give him suggestions.
Again, very simply put, very
Yes.
poignant
You
story.
experiment something on yourself. You feel how it is, how would be the pain. Okay, then only you will be able to give the right direction to somebody else.
And you can offer it to someone else if you've gone through that experience yourself, and then you
Yeah.
can practice what you preach. Devdutt Ji, I think you need to come to the UK, and you need to come to London and
If
check
you'll invite, I'll obviously come.
check my phone times and make sure I'm. But actually, I'm very interested in technology. It's part of my career. And so actually there's something called focus mode, and you can make sure you can't open things like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, what have you in the early hours. But it comes back to discipline. It's very easy to go back into the settings to turn that focus mode off and just look at TikTok all day long if you wanted to. But it requires discipline, and I think that's
Yeah.
what I've learned from you, especially here today.
See, whenever you follow a path of discipline, you are going to have some kind of pain. If you are ready to take that pain, then only changes will occur. Then only changes will happen. Okay. So
How
without
does
sacrifice,
how does one become ready to take that pain? People don't want pain. That's not
yeah, I'll tell you.
doesn't sound like a
Yeah,
nice thing.
yeah, I'll tell you. See, somebody who is using mobile phone for 10 hours a day. Okay. Like I'm using a mobile phone for 10 hours. I want to get out, get rid of this habit. Okay. So I'm not telling you just stop it. It is not going to happen. Okay.
Okay.
You just, slow process, sustainability, slow process. You make it 9 hours. Next day you do 8 hours. You prioritize. It's Instagram, using Instagram 1 hour is enough, or half an hour is enough. Is using WhatsApp, opening WhatsApp every time, it's good enough. Or whenever any important message is there, use that time. So the point is when you will do self audit, then only you will come to know how much time you are spending, how much time you are investing, right?
It's
So
very
you have to
true.
understand yourself. Okay, you have to understand yourself, which mistakes you are doing right now.
You make it sound so
Right.
simple, Devdutt Ji. Honestly, it's I definitely am going to listen back to
Yeah.
this podcast and audit myself and see where I stand on a lot of these things, as I think a lot of people will do also. So, Devdutt Ji, we've had a very great conversation. I think we should do this more often, but I think we're coming towards the end of this podcast episode, especially. So, is there some inspiration or some words of wisdom or something you would like to leave the listeners of the Vichaar Manthan podcast when it comes to their lives and their goals and motivations thereof? Is there some call to action you would like to leave our listeners?
Yeah, I'll just take out extracts from this podcast only, which I already discussed with you. The 2-3 things which I would like to tell. The first thing is accountability. You should be accountable to yourself. Don't make accountable to others. If I had done something wrong, I can't make accountable to you, right? Second thing is priorities. Okay, if you not prioritize, you'll lose somewhere in the wild. If you not prioritize something, you're lost in the wild. You are going to regret. Right. So human is the only person who can think for years, for upcoming years, who can think what is good for him, what is good for, what is not good for him. Right. Third thing is visualize. Visualize the thing which you want to do in your life, which you want to achieve in your life. Right. I know what I want to do after 5 years. Right. Fourth thing is stop taking shortcuts. Okay. Those shortcuts will give you one day glory. Okay, but regrets for your entire life, right? It is one day happiness. It is not the glory of your entire life. So you have to choose. You want one night glory or a good life for the upcoming years.
Very nice.
And start spending time with yourself. Try to know yourself. Very important. If you know yourself, everything is there. Everything is there inside it. There is no need to go to any other people. If you start loving your own company, if you start enjoying your own company, what is the need of others? What is the need to go to others? If you're having happiness, digest it. If you're having sorrows, digest it. Right? So these are the only 2-3 life lessons which I would like to give to the youngsters and which I used to follow every day.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
And one more thing, start giving challenges to your mind and body. Because your mind has enormous power. Till that time you will not give challenges, how you'll come to know how much power I'm having. Because after doing these 82 full marathons, my next target is 365 full marathons. Okay.
Wow.
So that is my next challenge because I had fever due to some reasons. Okay, because I was not going to stop. Okay, there's fever, made me to stop, at the count of 82. Okay, to do various reasons. So my plan is to go to, because I have not experienced my full power. Okay, so I'll come to know after doing 365. If I'm doing 365, then it will double after 2 years.
Perfect.
Okay, the motive will be same, just to encourage the youngsters to follow a healthy life, a good life. Okay, and avoid shortcuts. Okay, learn from basics.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey of struggle and the journey of hard work. You see magic happening in front of you.
Wow. Great
Yeah,
words of wisdom there from Devdutt Ji Sharma, who is an ultramarathon runner. He's a triathlete. He's a combat diver, mountaineer, yoga practitioner, and poet. We didn't even talk about your poetry. We'll have to do that on another episode. But Devdutt Ji,
yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today on the Vichaar Manthan podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Sumit. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. And to everyone listening at home, when I was preparing for this podcast and I spoke to the team at Vichaar Manthan, it's like, what do you ask a guy that's planning to do 100 marathons in 100 days? What do you say to an army officer in the Ministry of Defense who's been on the Navy, who's setting Guinness Book of Records? Like, what possibly could you ask him? But I tell you what, this has been a very enjoyable podcast to record. The wisdoms that Devdutt Ji has come out with, and I think I've said it throughout, right? It's very simple. It's very simple. Hold yourself accountable. Change your priorities. Visualize in life. Don't take shortcuts. And there were so many mic drop moments, I think. One day glory instead of regrets for life, and challenging yourself physically, mentally, and to do great things that he's achieved. So I encourage you all to go back and listen to this episode once more. Pick out pearls of wisdom, self-audit your life, put down your smartphone, invest in yoga, and especially for the youngsters out there, think about celibacy as well. Think about the absolute energy you can gain from living a fulfilled and disciplined life. One thing I've taken away from Devdutt Ji today is discipline. It's all about discipline. That is the true character building of a person, where you put your skills and your character together and you generate responding ability, and then you have responsibility and you can react to the world, whatever comes your way, whichever happiness or sorrows that come your way, like Devdutt Ji said, digest it. You become a person in the world who is navigating for themselves. Look at this guy. He's mapped out his next 5 years and he knows what he wants. When I asked him, is there something you want to commit to? There wasn't there. He's got it all mapped out. I've taken great inspiration from today, and I hope you have too. And if you like listening to stuff of this nature, things where we discuss Dharma and understand the world through the eyes of people who are special matter experts who have achieved something in their life, then please do tune in for more episodes of the Vichaar Manthan podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music, YouTube, and your favorite streaming platform. And I'd love to hear from you. Please do email in or catch us on any of our social media channels. My name is Sumit Sharma, and this was the Vichaar Manthan podcast. Namaste. Thank you.